They all watched, breath held, as Tyler collapsed onto the pavement, gasping for air. A minute ago, he was the king of Austin High. Now, just a name that would never be spoken with fear again. 3 days earlier, no one even knew my name. I'm Samantha Reed, 16 years old, and I've had more new beginnings than I can count. 3 days ago, I walked into Austin High School with a backpack full of books, a heart full of anxiety, and one very big secret. It was my 4th school in as many years, and this one, nestled in a hot, dusty corner of Texas, was supposed to be a fresh start. No drama, no trouble, just another quiet girl trying to disappear into the background. I wore my hair in a messy bun, pulled tight to hide the parts of me I didn't want noticed. Baggy hoodie, jeans. No makeup. No attention. But even now, I know better predators. Don't care if you try to be invisible. They just smell weakness, or what they think is weakness. The first incident happened at lunch. I had barely sat down with my tray. Peanut butter sandwich, apple slices, and a bottle of water, when he showed up, tall, broad-shouldered, all swagger and smirk. "New girl," he said, plopping himself down across from me. "I'm Tyler Collins. This is my school, my rules. These are my guys, Jace and Dylan." I looked up, trying not to react. "Nice to meet you. I'm Samantha." "Samantha," he repeated, like he was testing the name on his tongue. "Where you from?" "Chicago," I replied. That was his cue. Chicago. Jace snorted. "So you think you're better than us?" "Huh. No," I said quietly. "I don't think that at all. But you do think." Tyler leaned in. "That you can waltz in here and not pay your dues. See, city girls like you, we have a system for that." My stomach tightened. $5 a day, Dylan said. "Call it protection. You know accidents happen around here. Especially to quiet new girls." I stared at them. My hands under the table were clenched into fists, trembling not with fear, but with restraint. I knew I could end this now, right here. But I had made a promise. My mom had said, "Let's just live a normal life this time, sweetheart." She had no idea that normal wasn't always a choice. "I'll think about it," I said. "You've got until tomorrow." Tyler grinned. "Oh, and don't bother telling the teachers. My dad sponsors half the football program around here. That makes me untouchable." They left laughing, and I sat there still, burning. That night at home, my mom was making spaghetti. "How was your first day?" she asked, trying to sound casual. I lied. "Fine." "Typical first day." Oh, she looked at me long and hard. We've always had that unspoken language. She knew something was off. Later, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above me, I kept replaying it all. Their faces, their voices, the threat. Back in Chicago, they would have known better. There, I wasn't just some quiet girl. I was the reigning Illinois junior MMA champion. 4 years of training, 23 fights, 21 wins. But now I was just Samantha Reed, the new girl. And tomorrow, I'd have to decide whether that was enough. The next day, the sun came up over Austin like nothing had changed. But inside me, everything had. When I walked through the school doors, I wasn't Samantha Reed, MMA champion. I was still pretending. Still invisible. Tyler didn't give me the option to stay that way. He and his guys were waiting by my locker. "Well?" he asked, stepping in close. "You bring our money." "I'm not paying you," I said, steady but quiet. Tyler blinked, then smiled, slow and venomous. "I was hoping you'd say that. It started small. In chemistry class, Jace, accidentally, knocked my books to the floor, then stepped on them with his muddy sneakers. Oops. My bad." In the hallway, Dylan's shoulder checked me into a locker hard enough to bruise. "Watch where you're going," he said as he passed, grinning. By third period, people had started to notice. Whispers followed me like shadows. And the worst part, I said nothing. Every time I clenched my fists, ready to fight back, I heard my mom's voice in my head, "No trouble. Just be normal." But normal was becoming unbearable. It was during lunch that things broke. I was sitting alone, again, at the edge of the cafeteria when they struck. Tyler and his gang strutted in like they owned the room. They stopped right in front of my table. "Attention, everyone," Tyler shouted. "Seems the new girl doesn't want to follow tradition." People turned. Phones came out. I could feel the eyes on me like heat lamps. "Time to teach her some respect," he said. And then, in slow motion, he picked up my tray and dumped the contents onto my lap. The soup was hot. My jeans were instantly soaked. The whole room erupted in laughter. I sat frozen, not because I was afraid, but because I was deciding. When they left, I stood up, soup dripping down my legs. My hands weren't shaking from fear. They were trembling with rage. In the restroom, I scrubbed at the stains, but they wouldn't come out. Not from the fabric. Not from my memory. That's when I made the call. "Hello," a calm voice answered. "Master Ruiz, it's me." "Samantha Reed." "Samantha, you okay?" "Not really. I've got a situation at this school." I told him everything. The lunchroom, the threats, the humiliation. He was quiet for a moment. "You've kept your promise to your mom long enough," he said. "But remember, if you act, you do it smart. No witnesses. No serious injuries. Just control. Always control." I closed my eyes. "I understand." And I did. For the first time in days, I finally understood. They thought I was weak. They were about to learn the truth. I waited until after school. It had to be when no one was watching. No phones, no teachers, no crowds. Just him. Just me. Tyler usually stayed late for football practice, and that day was no different. I waited outside the athletic center, leaning against the rail as the sun dipped low. The air was thick with the smell of cut grass and fading heat. I watched the players file out one by one. Then I saw him. Alone, I stepped into his path. "Tyler," I said. He grinned instantly. "Soup girl. Back for more. I want to talk." "Oh, gonna beg for mercy now?" "No," I said. "I'm offering you a deal." He laughed. "You've got nothing I want. 1-on-1. Right here. No rules. If you win, I'll give you $10 a day and do whatever you want. If I win, you leave me alone forever, and you apologize publicly." He looked stunned for a second. Then smug. "You want to fight me? You think you can take me?" "You have nothing to worry about," I said flatly. "Right?" He stared at me for a long moment. Then he stripped off his hoodie, revealing a thick muscled frame built from years in the weight room. Let's do this. We stepped into the center of the empty parking lot. No one else around, just silence and a few birds overhead. Last chance to back out, he offered with a cocky smirk. I shook my head. I'm done backing down. He lunged. A wide, wild swing, telegraphed from a mile away. He wasn't trained. He was used to people flinching. But I didn't. I stepped aside, pivoted on my left foot, and drove my fist into his solar plexus. Not full strength, just enough. He gasped, folding over. One more move. My legs swept behind his knees. He dropped like a tree. He hit the ground, coughing, stunned. He looked up at me, eyes wide, mouth open. What? How? MMA, I said calmly. 4 years. State champion. You never saw it because you never bothered to look past your own ego. I knelt beside him. You bullied the wrong girl, Tyler. You don't scare me. And you don't get to hurt anyone else again. His breathing was ragged, but I saw something new in his eyes, something I hadn't seen before. Fear. But not the fear of pain. The fear of truth. He realized he was never in control. Not really. You'll leave me alone now, I said. And tomorrow, you'll apologize. Or next time, I won't hold back. I stood up and walked away. The next morning, Austin High was buzzing. Rumors had already begun swirling. Someone said they saw Tyler limping away from the gym lot. Someone else said I'd taken him down in one punch. By second period, the school fell silent when Tyler Collins walked into the hallway and stood in front of me. He looked around. Everyone was watching. I'm sorry, Samantha, he said. What I did was wrong. And just like that, the walls came down. I wasn't invisible anymore. But more importantly, I was respected. But respect wasn't the end of the story. It was the spark. And sparks, when shared, have a way of becoming wildfires. Not feared, not mocked, respected. The shift was subtle at first. Whispers stopped. Locker bumps disappeared. Teachers started looking at me with something that resembled curiosity. By the end of the week, a few students approached me, quietly, hesitantly, asking for advice. Not just about bullying, about confidence, about how to not be afraid anymore. That's when I knew. The fight hadn't just changed my life. It had changed the school. And maybe, just maybe, it was only the beginning. The apology from Tyler changed everything, but it wasn't the end. Just a week later, Chloe Martin, one of the most popular girls in school, approached me after gym class. She was nervous, like someone about to step into a confessional booth. Samantha, she said, glancing around. We need help. I tilted my head. She waved her hand, and 3 other girls stepped forward. They looked shaken, angry, afraid. Chloe continued, There's this group of guys from West Ridge High. They hang around the bus stop after school. They say awful things. Last night, one of them grabbed my wrist. Her voice cracked. We tried telling the teachers. Another girl said, But it's not school property. And our parents, if they find out, will just get banned from going out. I listened quietly. Inside, that same heat from the cafeteria returned. I knew what it felt like to be powerless, but I also knew I wasn't anymore. What time do they usually show up? I asked. Right after the last bell, 3040 die. I'll be there. I got to the bus stop 15 minutes early the next day. I wore plain jeans and a hoodie. I sat on the bench with a book in my hand and my ears wide open. At 3:43, I saw them, 5 of them, tall, loud, confident in the way only predators are. Their leader, a blond guy with a tattoo on his neck, sauntered up to Chloe like she belonged to him. "Hey, princess," he grinned. "You ran off yesterday before we got to know each other." She froze. His hand reached toward her cheek. That's when I stood up. "Excuse me," I said, my voice firm. "You're blocking the walkway." He turned. Laughed. "Who's this?" "Another city girl. Cute. She's with us," Chloe said behind me, voice shaking. "Oh, she's got backup." The tattooed boy smirked. "That's adorable." His friend stepped behind me. "Too close. Maybe we take her instead," he said, reaching for my arm. Mistake. I didn't turn. I didn't flinch. I just drove my elbow back, hard, into his solar plexus. He dropped like a sack of bricks, gasping. Everything stopped. The leader, Travis, I'd later learn, took a step back. "What the hell?" I faced him squarely. "You have 2 minutes to leave," I said. "No more warnings." He laughed nervously, then lunged. That's when training took over. I slipped under his swing and drove a straight punch into his liver. He bent. I followed with a knee to his nose. Blood shock. Silence. Travis collapsed. The others didn't move. "Who's next?" I asked, scanning their faces. They picked him up and ran. The next day everyone knew. This time, the videos weren't of someone being humiliated. They were of a girl protecting her classmates. The story spread like wildfire. Teachers, parents, even local news. People kept asking how I did it, where I learned. The real question, though, was could I teach it? So I did, with help from Coach Ellis, the school's wrestling instructor. I started an after-school self-defense class. I wasn't sure who would show up that first day. 20 students came, mostly girls, a few boys. Some curious, some scared, all of them tired of being afraid. I taught them what I had learned over 4 years of training. Where to stand, where to look, where to strike. But more than that, I taught them the mindset. Strength, I told them, isn't about hurting people. It's about stopping people from being hurt. Week after week, the class grew. One day, I caught Tyler peeking through the gym door. "Come in," I said. He joined without a word. From that day on, he never missed a session. I never wanted to be a leader. But something changed in the halls of Austin High. Girls walked taller. Boys stopped laughing at the wrong things. The whispers turned into waves. One day, during a school assembly, Principal Carter called me to the stage. "I think it's time," he said. "We made this program official." The applause was thunderous. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for all of us. And I was never alone again. What started as quiet resistance had grown into a movement. And movements have a habit of drawing enemies. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Months after the fight at the bus stop, I got the call. "Travis." Yes. The same Travis who tried to corner Chloe and ended up in a pool of his own ego and blood, had been arrested for assaulting a girl from another school. This time, he went too far. But instead of owning up to what he did, his family, wealthy, connected, and shameless, blamed me. They filed a counter-suit, claiming that I provoked him, that I humiliated him so badly that it pushed him into a violent spiral, that I, a 16-year-old girl defending her friends, was somehow responsible for what he chose to do. For the second time that year, I found myself standing in front of a crowd. Only this time, it wasn't in a gym. It was in a courtroom. The courtroom buzzed with cameras and murmurs. On the other side of the room sat Travis, cleaned up, bruised ego, freshly polished. His father wore a suit worth more than our entire house. Their lawyer painted a picture of me as a violent, unstable teen. A trained fighter, he declared, who used her skills to publicly shame a young man. As if Travis hadn't cornered my friends. As if he hadn't reached for me first. As if I didn't hold back, on purpose. My attorney was calm but fierce. She reminded the jury that self-defense is a right, not a privilege. That protecting others is never a crime. But what turned everything wasn't evidence. It was truth. And it came from the people whose lives had changed. Chloe took the stand first. Her voice trembled at first, but strengthened with every word. Travis wasn't flirting, she said. He was stalking. He made us feel unsafe every day. If Samantha hadn't shown up that afternoon, I don't know what would have happened. Student after student followed. Even Tyler. I used to be part of the problem, he admitted. But she didn't just stop me, she helped me change. And then, it was my turn. I stood. My palms were steady. My voice didn't waver. Yes, I said. I hit him. I used force, but not to hurt, for protection. I knew how much damage I could cause, and I chose not to. What gave you the right? Their lawyer asked. I looked him in the eyes. No one gives you the right to protect people, I replied. It's already yours. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. The verdict, not guilty. The courtroom erupted into applause. A vindication felt powerful. But what came next proved even more profound. Because Samantha's fight didn't end in that courtroom. It only expanded. But it wasn't relief I felt. It was conviction. Not the legal kind, the inner kind. I knew who I was now, and no one could take that from me. After the trial, something amazing happened. Schools across the district started asking for self-defense workshops. Teachers reached out. Parents emailed. Even students from across the country wrote letters. One of them was from a girl in New Mexico. Dear Samantha, she wrote, I've been bullied for years. I used to cry every day. But after seeing your story, I signed up for a jiu-jitsu class. Last week, for the first time, I stood up for myself. Thank you for giving me courage. Her name was Alina. She was 14. By the time I graduated, or a little after, school class had grown into a full program with over 60 students, including boys, teachers, even parents. I gave a speech at graduation. Standing on that stage, I thought about everything. The fear, the silence, the soup, and the choice. The moment I stopped being afraid of who I was. Sometimes, I said, you have to take the first step before the ground appears beneath you. Strength isn't what you use to fight others. It's what you use to protect what matters. Today, I'm 26. I have a degree in psychology and a black belt in Brazilian Jitsu. I run a youth center in Austin that trains kids in self, defense, and emotional resilience. We don't just teach punches, we teach boundaries. We teach value. And every year, I return to Austin High. In the gym, next to the wrestling mat, there's a framed photo of me, age 16, hoodie and all, with the words, Samantha Reed, she turned silence into strength. Underneath that plaque, every student who walks through those doors learns the same truth I did. Years passed, but the lesson remained. Strength isn't about the moment you fight. It's about everything you build afterward. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to be feared to be respected. You don't have to fight to win. But when it's time, fight smart, fight fair, and never ever back down from being yourself.